Hello.
Hello.
For those of you who don't know me, some of you I've probably not been introduced to personally. My name is Bill Miller. I served as a deacon at the church last year. I'm still in the deacon's position this year, but earlier in December, January, I was elected to consistory president. There's only one problem with that, and that is that I have to follow in John Hannawalt's footsteps. And I think that's going to be a big job. I think John has pretty big feet, and I just hope I can do a job as good as what John has done, and help each and every one of you that may have concerns or something going on with the church. Hopefully I will always be there. It brings me to the slide that's on the screen. That's my cell phone number, my email address. Any problems, concerns, or anything that you have about church, please feel free to give me a call. If you don't remember the numbers, Carol has them in the office. You can call Carol. She can get a hold of me. She can tell you how to get a hold of me. I will always be there. I may not immediately answer, but I will get back to you in probably less than 24 hours. This is the first quarterly informational meeting of the year. It's my understanding that these meetings were established to make sure the congregation has a clear picture on the finances of the church throughout the year. I have notes here, and of course already I'm out of order. On the finances of the church. So I was asked to kind of give an update on Penn Central Conference during this. First of all, I'd like to have a very big round of applause to the people that made this happen. I know Wendy and Steve Hepler were very, very instrumental in doing this. They also had help from Daryl and Connie Stackhouse and Bill Purcell. And there were a whole bunch of people that made this happen. Wendy and Steve put in a lot of work downstairs helping to reconstruct our first floor to allow Penn Central to get in there. So please give a round of applause to all those people that helped to make this come to earth, to come to end. I talked to a person downstairs who's the office administrator, Paul Keller, and Paul assures me that they're very, very pleased with their space downstairs. They couldn't be any happier. They're very, very ecstatic about it. They said they're about 85% unpacked, and they're moving forward, and they're very glad to be there. And as you'll hear from Virginia in a few moments, they're in their space, and we're receiving their rent, so it was a job well done by everybody that worked on this and everyone that helped. So with that being said, I really don't have anything else for you folks. We're going to continue on with the meeting. I've got another engagement that I have to be at 12 o'clock, so I'm going to sneak out of here, and Connie's going to continue to run the meeting for us. Do you guys have any questions for me before I leave? Seeing none, I'm going to turn it over to Connie, and actually probably just Virginia can come up and give her presentation on the budget and what's going on with the church fiscally. Thank you very, very much for your attention. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bill.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. First, I have to start with a word of apology and correction. I asked Carol to print out this report and make it available to you. Every month, I do 2 reports like this for the deacons in consistory. One of the reports is for the month that just ended, and one is what we call year-to-date, January through the month that just ended. So in January, as I'm doing reports for December, there are 2 reports, one for December and one for January through December, which is the entire year. January through December is the report I meant to give Carol and print out, and I didn't realize until I asked Dan, where are those reports? And he went running to the office, brought it back, and I gave Carol the wrong report. So this says December only. We will reprint the one that is January through December, have those in the office, and maybe if we can figure out a way to distribute them electronically through email. But just so you know what this report is, if you're interested in it. This is the kind of report that you like if you're a numbers person. And if you're not a numbers person, you just set it aside. It is the numbers you might notice look very similar to what you see every November when we present the budget and the proposed spending for the next calendar year. We use the exact same numbers throughout the year to track our actual spending and our actual receipts. The first section is income, the 4,000 range. And then we get into all of our expenses, and those are categorized as well. So if you read through, you will see, and this is December only. What I really wanted you to see was the full year of 2021. But you will see exactly what our receipts were, and by category, what our expenses were, and by category. And then that's compared to what the deacons had budgeted and the congregation approved. A budget is a plan. It's our best estimate. It's never going to be 100% accurate. So one of the things we look at is, where did we vary from the budget and why? For example, was it a mild winter and we didn't have to plow a lot? That's what we call a positive variance. We didn't spend as much as we thought we might have to. Sometimes we have a really difficult winter, it's extra cold, extra snowy, the heating bill is higher, we plow more, and those expenses go over. So there are expenses we can project and control, and those that we cannot. And I would be happy to answer any questions anyone has. If you are a numbers person, and when you get the year-end report, January through December, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to speak through it at any time. I'm going to review today, at a very high level, our 2021 financial information, which would be this, if I had the right report, would give you all the details. I'm going to give you the same numbers, but at very high summary level. So this says it's a quarterly update because we meet on a quarterly basis, but really I'm going to be giving you an annual update for the year 2021. At a high level, our total receipts for the year, every form of income that we have, including gifts to the church and the second PPP loan, the Payroll Protection Plan loan, our total receipts were $260,356.15. And our total expenses were $235,867.10, which means I am so thrilled to tell you we are in the black. We received more money than we spent. For round figures, $24,500. So that is really exciting and thrilling. Now, our receipts included the PPP loan, and we received really generous gifts from the estates of Gary Bechtel and Lynn Van Leven, which we greatly appreciate as well. There's also these numbers are a little bit distorted because there is $22,028.07 of receipts to pay for the lower level renovation, and the exact same number to pay for the work that was done, or expenses. So I just wanted to take those figures out and show you what our numbers looked like without them. Because it's the exact same figure, our bottom line difference of $24,500 is exactly the same. But I just wanted you to see the receipts and the expenses without that $22,000. So Dan and the deacons and I had a conversation. If we ever have a major project like this again, and we had it with the parking lot, we've had it with the lower level renovations, we're going to try to find a way to create a separate budget for a special project so it doesn't impact our operational budget. Our operational expenses are really the things that we can expect to occur year after year. And they're always one-time expenses, like we have to fix a boiler and that kind of thing. But a major project that we know about in advance and intentionally take on, like paving the parking lot or renovating downstairs, we're gonna try to make that a separate budget and not impact our operating budget. So our Penn Central Conference lease, as Bill mentioned, the lease began on November 1st, and we are paid the rent on the 1st of the month. So we received 2 months of rent in 2021. Our rent is $1,970 a month for the first year. So we had $3,940 in rental incomes already in 2021. These are our financial assets, and I know there are a lot of numbers here. What I'd like to point out is that if you look at the rightmost column where it says change, that's if the account went up or went down. All of our accounts increased in 2021, and financially where we are with our accounts at the end of December compared to the beginning of January in 2021 is that we're $29,561.89 to the good of where we were, which is, very much in keeping with the fact that our receipts were higher than our expenses. I received a question. These are our separate accounts that we have at the bank. We also have an obligation that's not a separate account that we track on the balance sheet that is the endowment fund. And that has round figures about $5,000 in it. I know it's 4,900 and something. I don't remember those last 2 digits, but roundly $5,000. And Connie has been working with the investment specialist at Penn Central Conference to identify an appropriate investment vehicle for us as a church to do with that fund. And Connie, when you speak, we had a question on where we were with that. Maybe you could just briefly touch on, when you're up at the microphone, you could briefly touch on where you are with that research. Thank you. That really was everything I prepared today. Are there any questions? Okay, I don't know who's next, Connie.
The next is Ryan Walker,
Ryan.
Chair of Deacons.
And Ryan, you press the down arrow to advance.
So can we all give a round of applause for Virginia? There we go. So if you don't know, my name is Ryan Walker. I am the chair taking over from Connie this year. Unfortunately, she did a great job last year. She has some commitments this year, so I'll be taking over for 2022 here. So I'm just going to give a quick update on some things that we'd like to point out as from the deacon standpoint. So first of all, we had a very successful Christmas gift to church campaign again. As you know, we've heard many announcements come through November and December. The campaign raised $2,575. Thank you for everyone who gave a Christmas gift to church financially. The cards that you gave are hanging up in the hallway between here and the sanctuary, so feel free to check out those cards, read them. They're nice messages to the church, so feel free to check those out when you have time. Banco. So if you've heard Banco, this is our online giving portal. We're definitely stressing this. This is a great way to set up a renewing contribution to the church, or a one-time if you're unable to make it. The link to it is on the church website. I've heard this many times before. It's a great way to easily give without having to remember to write a check out or bring cash every Sunday or make out your envelope. You can, like I said, set up a weekly or monthly giving or a one-time giving through the portal. We just ask that you try to set up with a bank account. We incur fees if it's through a credit card, more fees than we already pay. So if possible, try to give through using a bank account directly rather than a debit or credit card. And then, like I said, with winter around, I know people aren't going to make it because of the snow or cold or whatever. So this is a great way to give if you're unable to make it. Just another announcement on the giving statement and envelopes. If you were in church, Doug Ferguson did make the announcement that the envelopes are here, and we apologize for the delay. There was some backlog with the supply chain, like everything else in the grocery store or any other store you go to. They are here and they are in the foyer, so please pick them up if you haven't done so already. And the end of year statements have been mailed out if you aren't able to pick them up yourself. So those will be out for your reference as you're doing taxes. Any questions? Well, thank you. Did you want to give a quick update on if anything to speak about for the funds for the endowment fund at all? I know Virginia mentioned it.
Yeah, well, I'm up next, so I can.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize you were giving a speech. We will turn over to Connie.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, and I will echo that. I am so glad that Ryan has stepped up, and although he's a new deacon this year, many of you know he is a former deacon and he had served formerly as chair of deacons, so he can just kind of ease right in there. So I don't forget, I will address the endowment fund. As Virginia said, we have just a little under $5,000 in it. We do have people who give regularly every month to the endowment fund, and that fund was set up primarily as an investment fund. The way I'm not sure, it's not really a policy, but there's some paperwork in the deacons that says that the endowment fund is to be used for long-term growth for the church, and that the interest on that fund can be used if necessary for day-to-day expenses, but the principal is not to be touched. And for the longest time, that fund has just been in our regular checking account, and that's not really what it's supposed to be doing. So Bill Minsker over here gave us some suggestions as to what to do with the endowment fund, and thank you, Bill, for bringing it to our attention, because it just sat there, and that was our mistake. We should have acted on that a long time ago. Unfortunately, the fund that you recommended would not take less than $25,000. And we don't have anywhere near that much. So if anyone would like to contribute approximately $20,000, we can certainly put it there. Ron Royer, who is the treasurer for Penn Central Conference, has given us some information on a fund that he recommends. It's a fund that invests primarily in churches and church growth. And he gave us some printed information, and I presented that to the deacons last month when we elected Ryan as chair. And he took over as soon as the election was over. And so he asked the deacons to please review that information, and at our next meeting, which will be the meeting in February, we're going to be discussing that and possibly making a decision as to what to do with that money. So again, thank you, Bill, for bringing that to our attention long time ago. Just want to remind you that we do have grocery cards available every Sunday. They were available today. This is a no-brainer. Everybody eats. For every $100 worth of grocery cards you buy, $5 goes to the church. So if you can just kind of remember, you can see where those lovely ladies are sitting back there at the high top table. That's where you can purchase grocery cards every Sunday between services. So we encourage you to do that. They're available in any denomination from $10 on up. And you can get them for Giant, Carnes, or Weiss, or a combination thereof. In connection with Ryan said about the holiday gift to St. Thomas, raising $25.75, which was really great. We are going to be taking those cards down probably this week, so if you want to take a look at them, please do so today. Along with the holidays, Bill Souls is standing back there, standing guard over our lovely remaining 4 poinsettias. They need a home. If they are not taken today, they are going to be put in the trash. And I would just hate to put those beautiful flowers out there in our cold, cold dumpster where they're going to die a freezing, uncomfortable death. I understand that you can keep them going from year to year if you put them in a totally dark place for a certain number of hours every day, and you can get instructions on how to do that on the internet. So if you feel creative and have a halfway green thumb, please take a poinsettia with you today. I'm going to ask everybody to do something that you are always discouraged from doing in church, and that is take out your cell phone. Go to your calendar. We have some important dates coming up, dates that bring nice funds into St. Thomas. The first one is our annual goods and services auction, and that's coming up on March the 5th. That's just over a little month from now. You changed it again. What is it now?
Well, we're not, it's going to be in May, we just have to confirm the actual date in May.
Oh, now it's in May. Okay, well, don't bother putting that one on your calendar then. When it comes up, please participate. 60% of the funds from that go to our discretionary fund, which helps the needy in our local area, and then 40% goes to the general fund. So that's a good thing to support. One that I know is a current date is April the 9th. That's the Saturday before Palm Sunday, and that is our spring barbecue. So we're going to need lots of help with that. So please put that on your calendar and plan to have some chicken that day. Wanda spoke this morning at the service about Tools of Hope and the blanket campaign. That is always one of our bigger campaigns with the monthly mission, and this year we haven't really gotten all that much, and I don't know whether it's because people just were unaware of it or what. Any money that comes in February, and of course next week is February, will go to the February monthly mission. But if you still wish to contribute to blankets, you can certainly do so. We will take your money gladly. All you need to do is put it in your envelope or on the monthly mission, the giving portal, and designate Tools of Hope. On your envelope, just write under Other and write Blankets or Tools of Hope, and we will make sure that it's credited to that. If it's in the monthly mission slot and it doesn't say something, then it will go to the February monthly mission. So if you still want to donate a blanket, please put it on your envelope and designate it as Blankets or Tools of Hope, either one. Now, the main reason that I'm up here is to talk to you about a program that the deacons entered with Building and Grounds a couple of years ago, and it's the Aero Energy, they call it Houses of Worship program. And I'm going to ask somebody to give every family one of these.
Oh, I got these shoes. Squeak. Anybody not have squeaky shoes?
While John is passing those out, I just want to explain the program to you real briefly. Aero Energy has a program in which if you are an Aero Energy customer, any form of Aero Energy, it can be propane, it can be heating oil, anything at all that Aero sponsors, and you sign up, it doesn't cost you anything, you just have to sign up. They will donate 4 cents per gallon to the church every time you get fuel. And you don't even have to be a member of the church as long as you are an Aero customer and you say, okay, I want this money to go to St. Thomas. So if you know people who have Aero Energy, what you do, there's a phone number on this paper. This is designed as a poster, so you can see all those little phone numbers on the bottom. They're supposed to be little tear-off things, but that's the way the poster came to us. You can call that number, or you can go to aeroenergy.com, and there's an online application that you fill out. If you flip the page over to the other side, that's actually a copy of the online application. The reason I put that on there is that you have to put the church name, the church address, the church phone number, the contact person at the church, and the church's email address. And I'm sure there are some of you out there, particularly the email address, that don't know the church's email address off the top of your head. So I thought I'd give you all of the necessary information if you do want to sign up for this. You can do this anytime during the year. If you don't have Aero Energy and you choose to switch to Aero Energy for some reason, just fill out this application when you do make that switch. Actually, we had another energy company for our propane at home, and we found out that Aero Energy was much, much, much cheaper than our previous supplier. So we did switch, and that's when we found out about this a few years back. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, that is all I have. Next on the agenda is the Planning and Leadership Report, and Lori Souls is going to be giving that.
This is going to be very quick because I found out at 8 o'clock this morning Paul was sick and unable to do this, so I am now Paul. Planning and leadership, as you know, kind of takes care of the general planning and of the church calendar to some degree, and helping to staff committees and consistory. Now, while we did help with consistory this past year, we give them names and then consistory votes on it and then the congregation votes on it. So that's how that's done. But a couple of the things that we are doing or have done, this past year we've re-implemented the Pastoral Concerns Committee. That's if there are concerns for the pastor or if there are concerns about the pastor, this is a committee that you want to delegate and go to. Currently, and I believe the members are Francine Walker, Tom Trite, and Daryl Stackhouse. Those are the only 3 that I've been told. If there's more, I apologize for not knowing who you are. The other thing that we are doing, we're trying to get the Sunday school program back into some kind of semblance that we can start, hopefully, having more children attend. We have some ideas going on. We're working with Pastor Dan, and hopefully within the next, maybe by fall, we'll have something up and going. The third thing, as many of you know, is every other year we hold a volunteer recognition dinner. Normally that would be coming up in February. Due to some of the concerns about the COVID and social distancing and all that, we've decided to postpone it. We're hoping to do it in late spring, maybe early summer. Might be a little bit different than what you're used to. So those are the things that planning and leadership encompasses. So if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't need to get up on the mic again. I can use my teacher voice. The next on the agenda is Pastor Dan.
It's a good day when I can preach twice. So these quarterly meetings are a fine opportunity for us to look back, and it's helpful to do that, right? To see where we've come from and what's been happening, and such an encouraging report on the financial side to see that giving has been strong over this past season, and that's a real answer to prayer and a real testimony to the faithfulness of God's people here. I'd like to offer a personal comment that I received a gift from the church for Christmas, and just want to say thank you for that, for the generous contribution to our family in that, and we're really grateful for that, so thank you very much. As we look back on what we've been through together, you hear this from time to time, especially during this season of COVID, the adjustments we've made, the times we've been able to pivot, the whole new vocabulary that we have learned together during this season. We think about what we've given up, and we also think about what we've discovered. And one of the things we've discovered is the value of interdependence. Part of what we keep saying around this season is, I miss being together, I miss being around other people, I miss these opportunities, and that's evidence of the fact that we like interaction. And we've also discovered during this season, when there's been a high level of need in various ways, in various situations, that people have stepped up to meet that need. And sometimes in some surprising ways and some very quiet ways, but people have been very effective in helping. And that has been really a wonder to see. It's been just encouraging to witness that and to be the beneficiary of that, because I expect many of us in this room would say, yeah, in one way or another, I've been someone who has been helped by others during this time. As we look ahead, we are beginning to move towards the season of Lent and Easter. And this year, I'm going to be actively soliciting input and ideas regarding how we go through that season. So you'll be seeing a survey fairly soon, and I'll be inviting comments. Remembering that as a church, we do this together. I have particular responsibilities, but I'm not the church. This is not my church. We're together in this. And so I think one of the ways we'll demonstrate that is how we move through our season of Lent on into the celebration of Easter. I'm also mindful of a comment I picked up a while back, and I thought it was here on the PowerPoint slide, but the guy who put that together forgot to add it. So that was me. It's a quote from a fellow named Esau Macaulay, who was a professor at Wheaton College. And he says something like this, that one of the things that COVID has taught us is that our notion of time is not limitless. That he helps us to see, he's trying to emphasize this notion that COVID has made us think about time more carefully. That we don't just have infinite amounts of time available to us. And that the things we'd hope for, the things we'd want to see, don't always necessarily happen. And things like a worldwide pandemic bring that out pretty clearly. I'm not sure we need reminders, especially some of us who are moving closer and closer into that third age, or through that third age, that time is running, right? That there is an end in sight. But as we reflect on that, it is worth considering, what do we do with the time that's available to us? Rather than assuming I have one more day, I have many more days, to say, how do I spend these days? I think that's a really powerful question for us in a church environment as followers of Jesus, that we don't assume that we get infinite time, but that we use our time well. And so I know that has been on my mind quite a bit already. It's going to continue to be on my mind as we move in deeper into this year, to consider what is worth our time and attention. I read a comment on Twitter the other day, and the guy said, as I'm getting older, I'm trying to think, do I really want to give this much time to arguing? I thought, yeah, that's actually a pretty good comment. So what do we give our time to? Where do we place our energy? How do we pay our attention? The remarks from Jesus in the text that we looked at this morning take us back to those essentials of the gospel. Love God, love neighbor, And then if we strap on that one more, love enemy, that's pretty inclusive, right? And that gives us some ideas of how we occupy ourselves. So my encouragement to us all is, as we continue along through this year, that we keep looking to the Lord for guidance and wisdom and grace, that we be good at loving one another and loving those around us. As basic as that sounds, it's so essential. And to give our time and our energy to love, that's a pretty good life, right? Well, could I lead us in prayer as we close our time together? Gracious God, thank you for your goodness and for your consistency, for your faithfulness. Lord, we're so thankful that you're a God who loves, and who loves lavishly and well. Lord, thank you for the days that you've given us. And we pray wisdom in using these days in ways that honor you, that bless others. Thanks for what we can look back on in this past year in the life and health of this church. Thanks for the faithfulness on display, for the generosity. Lord, as we move deeper into 2022, would you continue to guide us, fill us with grace, and a sense of real purpose as we seek to live in ways that honor you. And so we'll commit ourselves, this church, and our ministry and reputation to you now, through Christ the Lord. Amen.
Amen.
And I think with that, we are dismissed.